What goes through your mind when someone tells you you can't do something?
I will say that there's still a little teeny part of me that that answers first in my mind and says, oh yeah, they're right. Like even with all the work I do, there's still like this teeny tiny part, but I quiet it very quickly. And I just don't accept that for myself. And because there's always going to be proof that that's not true for everybody or everything. You know, that's why I say to look for absolutes when they're saying words like always or never, that'll never work, or you can't do that, you know, but there's always going to be an exception to that, right? So I can't take that on as my own. And even if no proof existed and it was something new that I was trying to do, I still have to believe that it's possible. I still have to get behind that, regardless. So usually if somebody tells me that, they're either someone that I'm not going to work with moving forward, or, you know, I might try to educate them on my philosophy, you know, how I view things. But, you know, in the industry, I still do hear it a lot. Yeah.
Can you talk about limiting beliefs and how we live someone else's reality?
This is where I wanted to talk about realistic. I think that what somebody else deems as realistic is based upon their belief system. And they might be limited in that scope. You know, they might have a limiting belief about what is realistic. And the way that our subconscious mind works is that if we believe them, that means we're deciding that what they're saying is true. Then it gets stored in a subconscious. But if we don't believe them, then it doesn't get stored in our subconscious. And so we have to get more aware and vigilant about what we allow into our subconscious, because if we don't, we will end up living somebody else's version of what they think is realistic, you know, based on their limiting beliefs. So for example, you know, as an entrepreneur myself, starting a business and wanting to own a home and, you know, in the hills or by the ocean, that's going to be a multi-million-dollar home. So if I want to, you know, buy a multi-million-dollar home, I have to believe that it's realistic for that to happen. I have to believe that it's realistic for me to buy a multi-million-dollar home. And the way that I do that is by looking for proof and for ways of how to make that tangibly happen. Like if I can learn more about what it takes to own a multi-million-dollar home, what does my income need to be? You know, I spoke to realtors, I spoke to lenders, I learned about the process of, you know, how much would I put down? You know, people that are buying at that level, are they paying in cash? You know, I really had to learn all of these things. And the more I learned it, the more it becomes more realistic because I understand what it takes, right? So as I have grown as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I started to know people, you know, I started to expand my friend base of other entrepreneurs who are further along than me financially, right? So for example, one of my friends last year just hit her first $1 million a year. So $1 million in a year, that's like $83,000 a month, right? Now, most people would say, $83,000 a month? That's not realistic, right? Some people aren't even making that per year. And so we decide that that isn't realistic. But to my friend who has done it, it's totally realistic to her. She did it. So her reality is not the same of somebody else's reality because she believes in a different definition of what is realistic. And if we look at it, it's totally realistic for her to make $83,000 a month. It's also totally realistic for her to incrementally grow every year and make more than that. You know, it is not that far off for her to make $100,000 a month. One of her mentors has made up to $400,000 a month. Again, it sounds like something that's not realistic, right? And you could say, oh, well, she got lucky or she won the lottery. No, they're just entrepreneurs that learned how to build a business. And actually, Jack Canfield says in that book, The Success Principles, that a millionaire is made every 4 minutes, I believe, in the United States. So it's much more common than we realize but in our mind tells us it's not realistic. So if I want to be a millionaire, or if I want to own a multi-million-dollar home, and that means that I need to have an income, past $1 million, I can't take on somebody else's belief that says I can't do that. I can't listen to someone that says, Erica, that's not really realistic, right? I can't take that on, because if I do, it'll never happen. I'll never get that house. So instead, I have to surround myself with people like my friend who's already now hitting $1 million a year, and seeing how she's doing it and learning from her and going, oh, okay, totally realistic. So I'm deciding that what I want, even though it might sound crazy to other people, is actually really realistic to me, And so I have to decide that for myself, and I can't base my belief on what someone else's belief is.
Wow. That sounds like a nice, that sounds really nice. How can an artist ruin their own career because they're living someone else's fear-based reality?
Well, with my example of the house, if I take on someone else's limiting belief that this is impossible, I ruin the dream by not even, if I don't even believe it could happen, I'm not going to learn how to grow my income. I'm not going to speak to a lender and learn what a lender is going to need from me as an entrepreneur who doesn't bring home W-2s every week. All of that research that I've done, I wouldn't do that research if I take on their beliefs. So, I don't know if ruin is the word that I would use, that they're ruining their career, but I think that you're always going to get what you believe. So if you take on somebody else's belief that this can't happen or you can't have that, that's exactly what you will get. So it'll, I guess, ruin, any chances of having the thing that you desire if you're not believing that you can have it.
How do we get in tune with our own reality?
In tune with your own reality, meaning in tune with the reality you want to create, like whatever you want to be realistic for yourself.
That's true, because I guess we could get in tune with our own reality that's negative.
Like basically you never want to get in tune with your reality. Like your reality is not having what you want, right? Like right now in my reality, I don't have the house. So I don't want to get in tune with that reality. I want to get in tune with the reality in which I have the house. So, Abraham Hicks talks about this a lot, but it's really about stop focusing on what you don't have. Abraham says that every subject is really two subjects, the having it and the not having it. So if you want to book a show, you're either focused on the fact that you haven't booked it yet and don't have it, or you're focused on the fact that you're going to have it, right? And so one of those is the dominant thought there. And so you don't want to focus on the reality that you don't have it. You want to focus on the reality you're creating in the future, in the near future. So you really want to get in tune with the reality that you want to create. From a law of attraction standpoint, in terms of manifesting whatever is in your life right now, you have created, you have manifested. So everything you have now is based on things you've done in the past. And so the same for the future things that you want is going to be based on what you're doing right now. So what you're doing right now, it's talking about getting in alignment with the thing that you want. What do we do now to manifest that thing in the future? We get aligned with it, meaning we believe that we're going to have it. We stop focusing on lack, stop focusing on what we don't have. And we just get excited about it. We visualize, we focus on how it's going to feel. It's really about the feeling. So when I have this job, I'm going to feel really excited and really confident and really proud. Okay, well, can I experience those emotions right now? Totally. You don't need to book a job to feel excited. You can get excited, right? You can create that emotion for yourself. So it's about how can I just focus on feeling excited and confident and proud, right? And that is going to call this in. As opposed to if I got in tune with my current reality where I don't have the job, I might feel sad. I might feel frustrated. I might feel not worthy, right? And all of those things. And when we focus on those feelings, and by the way, this is not to say that it's bad to feel those feelings. I always tell my clients, it's healthy and okay to feel whatever comes up for you. It's just about, can we shorten the time in which we don't feel good and shift into feeling better? So it's getting aligned with those feelings and belief in what's coming and expecting it.